Hey guys, welcome to the Fantasy Football Endgame. We're here to help you win. That's it. That's the bottom line. That is our end game. And that starts with the waiver wire. You're going to need to make some moves all throughout the season to stay on top of the competition. And that's why we're here each and every week. And starting with running back right now, because we cover every position. But let's get to the top five waiver wire picks for running back at week 7. All right. So it seems like we can't go a week without a major running back getting hurt. And sure enough, this week it was Miles Sanders. I'll talk about him a little bit more in a minute. But if you are a Sanders owner or if you have guys on bye, whatever the case is, you're going to need some help. Unfortunately, running back, it just keeps getting thinner and thinner every week. All the running backs, anybody who gets any sort of touches in the backfield is getting scooped up. But there are some options. So let's count down, starting with number 5. And number 5 is a player that probably should be higher, but we're talking about the Jets here. So LaMichael Perine is a rookie, and he's on a team that just traded its star running back and only has a 37-year-old Frank Gore ahead of him. So he should be getting a lot of touches from here on out so they can see what he can do and prove himself, and maybe do something to get that offense. No, no, it's Adam Gase. All right. So, Frank Gore is still the lead back, and he proved that because that's exactly what happened again in week 6. Perine took 7 carries for 27 yards. Granted, he didn't do anything amazing, but he didn't get a lot of touches, and he only had 2 catches. Whereas Frank Gore, even in the receiving game, somehow now Frank Gore had 4 catches more than Perine, was targeted more, and had 14 carries. So it is still Frank Gore's backfield. You could add Frank Gore, but you know what you're getting there. Love Frank Gore, right? As a member of the U, right? I'm from Miami, so he'll always have a place in my heart, even though I hate the Jets. Perine, from a fantasy standpoint, should be valuable, but he's not yet. But this is somebody you could stash in a deep league, or if you happen to have a spot, just in case. Somehow, thankfully, at some point, Adam Gase does get fired. I'm not sure it's going to happen this season. What are they waiting for at this point? But if it does, maybe they'll actually try something different and see if Prime can do something. All right. So he's a stash only at this point, but one at least to keep your eye on because there's not much else on the waiver wire. My number 4 pick right now, the guy that you probably didn't remember was in the league because he wasn't for a while, Jeremy McNichols. He's bounced around. He had been with Tampa and I think some other teams, and then now found a home in Tennessee. Wasn't even supposed to be really on the active roster, but my sleeper pick for the preseason, Darrington Evans, has just not stayed healthy, and now he's on IR. So he's going to miss at least the next 2 games, at least. I think it's a hamstring. So, anyways, McNichols is the backup, and we know the appeal here. He is the high-end insurance policy for Derrick Henry. Now, that doesn't mean too much because Derrick Henry is getting all of the touches basically, and he should. But we saw McNichols even yesterday in week 6. He looked decent in his chances, 51 yards on 5 carries. I'm not saying that he's going to be an explosive back or that he's going to get, any sort of production on a consistent basis. But if you're a Henry owner and you need a handcuff, this is the guy to go with. If you have space on your bench and you're looking for a lotto ticket, if, God forbid, something happens to Derrick Henry, this would be the hottest waiver wire ad of the week if that were to happen. We've seen how running backs are dropping like flies. So this is somebody that nobody's on yet. Maybe it's time to get on him now if you have the space. All right, let's go to number 3 now. And I know that this won't go over well because if you added D'Ernest Johnson, and I did recommend him a couple weeks ago, he's done absolutely nothing. But hold up. So let me explain. Right now, D'Ernest Johnson, in the 2 games since Chubb went out and he's been the number 2 back, they faced the Colts and the Steelers. The Colts and the Steelers are number 2 and number 4 defensively against running backs. So 2 of the top 5 toughest defenses to run. And you saw Kareem Hunt yesterday, didn't do anything, right? We knew that's how it was going to go. The Steelers were going to shut down the run, force Baker Mayfield to try to win the game, and you saw how that went. That was a pretty smart move. Teams are going to do this. They're going to try to make the Browns pass the ball, and the Browns want to run the ball. All right, it's a little harder when they don't have Chubb. But the good thing is now the schedule finally softens up, and starting with Cincinnati, who to begin the year had been one of the worst run defenses in the league, get a little better statistically, but still, this will be an easier time for them, just an easier game in general. They don't have a tough defense to face. So I'm not saying you need to pick up Johnson for sure. I'm not saying that he needs to be started. If you already added him and because you needed him, this would be the time to put him in your flex spot. And he's still worth a shot on the waiver wire because think about the guys we've already mentioned. He's got more upside than them. I only have two guys who are ahead of him, and I'm not even sold on them completely. Especially started with my number 2 pick here. Probably going to be one of the hottest ads this week, and he's probably going to let us down again. That's Boston Scott in Philadelphia. So if you remember back, week 1, Miles Sanders did not play. Boston Scott was the man. This was his chance, right? He was going to get all the work, and he didn't do very much. He was 9 carries for 35 yards, and he didn't really do anything in the passing game either. That's his thing, right? He's catching the ball. We know he's a pass catcher. He didn't do anything. He only caught 2 passes. Is it going to happen again? Probably. I know you think, okay, it's the Giants. It's a Thursday night game. So the good thing, as far as Miles Sanders goes, we don't know yet as of right now. Don't have MRI results. But the fact that it is a knee issue, that's concerning. And the fact that they play on Thursday tells me there's a good chance that he either won't be playing or will not be 100%. So guarantee Boston Scott will have to have a bigger role because they are not going to put Corey Clement in the starting role. They don't have anybody else. So it's going to be Scott. And what's he going to do against the Giants? Well, I don't know that we can expect much. Remember that week 1 game I was talking about? That was against Washington. Again, not against one of these elite defenses. So if you are somebody who has Sanders, you've been riding him, and you have Scott already, or you have to pick up Scott because there's no other better option on the waiver wire, I get it. I'm okay with that. We've been down this road before. Boston Scott is not anything close to a workhorse back. He's a change of pace guy. And this year, he's just been very disappointing. 3.3 yards per carry, just not doing a whole lot. That's not a very good endorsement of him, but I'm just telling you, as far as opportunity goes on the waiver wire this week, guys who are under 50% rostered, Scott's probably got to be your number 2 pick. All right. Maybe he breaks free for a big play, gets a touchdown. At the very least, get you a few points. So there is some appeal there. It's just not very appealing. Number 1 right now, as far as the waiver wire, it's got to be Justin Jackson. I know he's been snatched up in a lot of leagues, but right now, technically only 45% rostered in Yahoo. So he is still out there in a lot of leagues, especially might have been dropped because of the bye week. Some people still not sold. I'm not sold. I'm not saying I am. I'm more of a Joshua Kelly fan. Of course, Kelly's been not very good so far. Jackson is the one who's getting more of the receiving work, and in the fourth quarter, he was the one that they had on the field, right? He's got a higher yards per carry average, and he's a little bit more explosive than Kelly. Kelly's more that tough inside runner. So Jackson does have some upside. The problem is it's still going to be a timeshare, right? He's still not going to get that many touches. They don't want Jackson on the field all the time. So as far as all your options for the waiver wire running back, he's still probably going to be your top pick. The good news is going against Jacksonville in week 7. That's a very nice matchup. I mean, you saw what DeAndre Swift just did to them. Justin Jackson's not going to do that. But like I said, you could do worse than a guy who's in a 2-man committee going against a very bad defense. So I think Jackson's got to be your top choice if he's available. All right, guys, that does it for running backs. Catch out our waiver wire pickups and add recommendations for wide receiver, tight end, quarterback. And of course, Chris is going to drop his defensive streamers and of course, players that you should maybe panic about. Don't miss that. That's always a good one. We have you covered with start sit advice. Don't forget also Endgame Live every Sunday. Anything you need to help you win at fantasy football, that's where we come in. All right, give us a thumbs up if you like this and leave a comment if you have questions about any waiver wire pickups or questions at all about anything related to fantasy right here. All right, thanks for watching.